Welcome back, True Seeker, episode 50, take 2. I'm looking at the chat right now to see if things are sounding how they're supposed to. So if I can get some confirmation from the chat, that would be great. How is the sound now? Okay. Not sure what went wrong last time. Everything was normal. So I can only imagine somehow that was through YouTube's end. Okay. Okay. All right, let's do this. So it is January 16th, 2019. Lots to talk about. We have an attack in Syria blamed on ISIS. We have a no confidence vote for Theresa May. It couldn't be any more comical. Few other stories. John Wetteland with the sexual abuse. The Mormons opened a temple right next to the Vatican. All of this stuff. More shining examples of just how relevant Gematria is and how many subjects it pertains to. So, before we get to it, let's start with this day in history. It was January 16th, 1920 that Prohibition began. The outlaw of alcohol and beverages that caused intoxication. And notice they began this on the 16th day of the new year. 16 is one of two numbers when written out that has a gematria of 33. The other is 90, 90. 16, 33, alcohol 33. And they repealed Prohibition December 5th, 1933. That was the date of the repeal of the 18th Amendment. That was a date with a life lesson number of 33. 33, that Rolling Rock can. It's got the mystery of 33 about their brewing process. Speaking of 33, in 1942, Hollywood actress Carole Lombard and her family and others on a plane died in a crash just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. She was 33 years old. Hollywood's 33. And she died on her 103rd day of her age. That's the 27th prime number. As we know, ritual equals 27. We often talk about how many members of the 27 club died in connection to 103. Where her plane crashed was called Potosi Mountain, Nevada, having gematria of 86 like blood sacrifice. And her birthday, October 6th, is also the day leaving 86 days left in the year. Find that interesting. Las Vegas, Nevada does have the gematria of plane crash as well, which I forgot to put up here. If you type in Las Vegas, Nevada, you type in plane crash and gematria, you'll see the overlap with 43. As for her name, Carole Lombard, also in the ciphers, Carole Lombard's 56. Oh, I did a typo here. Whoops, I did it wrong. Let me just do it here real quick. I only got one hand today because I'm holding the mic. Plane crash is 43 and 56. The name Carole Lombard's 56. And Las Vegas, Nevada, 43. See how that goes together? Las Vegas, Nevada was 43. Plane crash, 43. Her name, Las Vegas, Nevada. Again, we see these same patterns all throughout history. I couldn't help but notice that her name also sums to 119. Reminds me of how Osama bin Laden's father died in a plane crash on the day leaving 119 days left in the year. Also, in 1978, NASA named 35 candidates to fly on the space shuttle. Why 35? Well, of course, NASA equals 35. And the biggest story of that day was it would be the first woman. Her name was Sally K. Ride. Notice Sally K. Ride, 116, like the date, January 16th, 1/16. Also, the first black astronaut. I'll let you have the fun with his name. You'll see some standout numbers right away if you punch that in, including the 74, the big number with masonry, NASA controlled by masonry. Also on this day in history, in 2007, Barack Obama announced he was running to be the 44th president. What a fitting date January 16th, 2007 was. It was a date with 44 numerology. Remember, his campaign came on the back of his book, Audacity of Hope. Hope was the word. the red, white, and blue image with Obama's likeness with the word hope at the bottom. Hope with the alphabetic order is 44. When you flip it around, hope is 64. And Barack Hussein Obama in the most pure cipher is 64. Again, Obama elected number 44, 44 years after the Civil Rights Act in 64. And civil rights equals 64 in this same cipher. The most pure one, the dark blue one. If you flip the alphabetic order around, Barack Hussein Obama equals 116, like January 16th, 116, the date he announced. Again, it's always this way for all politicians. This is how they operate. For the first several years that I taught this knowledge, all I knew about with Obama in 44 and 64 was with the alphabetic order, the dark green cipher, and the blue cipher. And I talked about it continuously, how he ran on hope, elected number 44, 44 years after the Civil Rights Act, civil rights, Barack Hussein Obama, both 64, just in those two ciphers. And, you know, when I finally discovered reverse gematria 3 years into the study, it just, you know, again, it just proved that it was true because of the way things lined up. I mean, what are the odds it's going to be 64 in light of already talking about that? And then, I mean, just something like this. In reverse gematria, his name's 116. He announces he's running on January 16th. Every single day I post these videos, there's always comments about, oh, you're just using too many ciphers, so it's like picking numbers out of a hat. It's like, nope, that's not how it is. It's not how it is. I only use 2 ciphers anyway for the longest time to prove this study ever so thoroughly. The reverse just lets us see more. So, fast forward to today, January 16th, 2019, and as I said, would likely be the case, you know, we've seen this before. We withdraw from a nation, then we start getting propaganda about the terrorist organizations. They get emboldened, and then they start, you know, doing their thing. And then next thing you know, you need an even bigger military presence there. It feels like they're doing the same thing with Syria right now that they did with Iraq years ago. And just look at how perfect this is. So today it's ISIS. ISIS claims responsibility and says the attack on a busy street was carried out by its suicide bomber. Today's date has numerology of 56 and 20. And again, in those ciphers that I've taught since the beginning, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, ISIS is 56 and 20. So what a perfect day to hear about ISIS. Adding insult to injury, today is 27 days after Mad Dog Mattis resigned, announced he was resigning due to his disagreements with Trump over Syria. Notice, 27 days later, Syria 27. And when Mad Dog announced that he was resigning, we pointed out that day, it was on his 103 days after his birthday, which is the 27th prime number. And we talked about how the day before, Donald Trump made his plans to withdraw from Syria. That was December 19th. That was on Trump's 27th week of being his age. And now with Mad Dog Mattis resigning, we've now gotten the 27th Secretary of Defense. And what's funny is they changed his birthday. When he was announced, his birthday was July 27th. It's now June 27th. Of course, the 27th day of the month for the 27th U.S. Secretary. But now with his new birthday, or his changed birthday, again, it used to be July 27th. From June 27th to the day he became the Secretary of Defense was on his 27th week of his age. Isn't that perfect? It just couldn't be any more perfect. It is just something else. And then what else I noticed about this man who's the new Secretary of Defense? He's from Seattle, Washington. And again, Seattle equals 19 and chaos equals 19. And Mad Dog Mattis's call name was Chaos. Again, just for a little more review, when Donald Trump announced who was going to be replacing Mad Dog Mattis, it was on the 107th day of Mattis's age, military 107. And from Trump's birthday to the announcement was his 193rd day of his age, Secretary of Defense 193, which is the 44th prime, and Mad Dog and Mattis and military 44. And that was the day they said it would be Patrick Shanahan, who at the time was supposedly born July 27th. It's also interesting that he was born in 62. That was a big year for Seattle. That was the year they hosted the World's Fair. That's the year the Space Needle went up. So this guy being a Seattle native, 62 was the year for Seattle. Anyway, coming back to today, of course, it's 27 days after Mad Dog Mattis says he's out. And from Trump's day of, saying he's pulling out to today is 28 days later. The reason that matters is because this happened in a place called Mabij, Syria, which has gematria of 107 and 44, just like military. 107 is the 28th prime number. The word kill has gematria of 44 and 28. Supposedly a deadly attack by ISIS today. And of course, Trump announced this plan on the 19th. We said then 19 is the chaos number. Will we see an uprise in ISIS in 2019? Well, here's our first big clue. We're just 3 days from the 19th. I can't wait to see what they got in store for us on January 19th, the first 19th of 2019. And speaking of 19, in the updated reports, they say in addition to the people killed, 19 others were injured. Of course. This town where this happened has the gematria of 107 and 44, like militaries we talked about. 163 is the 38th prime. Death equals 38. 73, the sacrifice number. Today's date has numerology of 36 as well. 1 plus 16 plus 19. So you have another connection to Syria today in terms of the way things line up. And don't forget, with regards to Syria equaling 72 at the alphabetic order, Trump's announcement came on his 27th week of being 72 years old. Too perfect. And it just kills me. I'm going to see all these YouTube truth channels talking about this news within the context of the way the mainstream media frames it, going along with the narratives, believing the lies, believing the propaganda. If only people would get with the code. All right, so another big story today. Theresa May survives no confidence. And apparently I forgot how to write survives up here. I don't know where that came from. But what do you think? You think this story is by the numbers and like how yesterday's story was? If you missed yesterday's podcast, you got to check it out. So look at this. Yesterday's date had 19 numerology, and the headlines were about the chaos sparked from the vote. So today she wins this no confidence vote just barely by 19 votes. 19 votes. And she wins with 325. As I was saying yesterday, it's all about the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 325. But not only that, from her birthday to this no confidence vote is 107 days later. And what does no confidence equal? 107. And how old is she? 62. Use the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, 62. Again, if you're trying to wake your friends and family up to gematria, really, I would just start with these two ciphers. You can do almost every news story with just these two, and then you won't have to hear people say, oh, just because you're using 4 ciphers, because it's not the case. I mean, for years, I just used these 2 ciphers, and every single day I could see what was going on in the news. And, if you pay attention, more often than not, we are looking at these ciphers. So the alphabetic order, no confidence, 107. With the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, 62 like her age. It astounds me that every single day people think this stuff's a coincidence. Okay, just here it was yesterday. 19 numerology, chaos in the headlines. I think there were a lot of chaos headlines yesterday about this. Chaos is going to be the word for 2019. And remember, the Masonic motto is order out of chaos. European Union 183. This whole vote's to get out of the European Union for the UK. Order out of chaos 183. Even the date January 15th when written out is 183. So it just couldn't have been any more right. And then, of course, Theresa May with the alphabetic order equals 115, like January 15th, 115. So here it is, the 116th Congress leader, Nancy Pelosi, on 116. Don't forget this Congress was voted for on November 6th. We're waiting for this day. She just pulled a power move, according to CNN. And the power move is her disinviting Trump from the State of the Union. And notice today has these 56 date numerology. Nancy Pelosi equals 56. Washington, D.C. equals 56. Her upcoming birthday is 69 days away. And what's interesting is the State of the Union is on a date with 69 numerology. And what else is interesting is the State of the Union will be 56 days before her birthday. So I thought that was interesting how that all lined up. You know, she makes this announcement about it today. And it has a riddle with today and the date of the State of the Union. And then I wanted to see how many presidents haven't given a State of the Union, because I thought this was more of a recent thing, a radio, television era thing, and it is. All the presidents since FDR have done the State of the Union, but in the history of the presidency, 26 of 45 haven't done it. So if Trump doesn't do it later this month, he'll become 27 of 45. And notice, ritual, 27, with the reverse alphabetic order, 45. Remember, Donald Trump announces the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall equals 45, and it was on the 27-year anniversary. So there is a chance he does it from the Oval Office. Nancy Pelosi said he won't be welcome to do it in Congress because of the government shutdown. But if he wants to do it, he can do it from his Oval Office. So, you know, just more theater, more stuff to divide people, you know, characters that a lot of people don't like. I honestly don't know anyone who likes Nancy Pelosi. I should go to San Francisco and just interview people on the streets of San Francisco. Do you like Nancy Pelosi? I bet you it'll be hard to find somebody who likes Nancy Pelosi. You know, have you ever voted for Nancy Pelosi? Oh, you haven't either? I think it would go something like that. But, you know, Donald Trump, another despicable character to a lot of Americans, probably the vast majority. It's kind of tragic how the supposed truth community online are some of the biggest advocates for Donald Trump in the world. It's like, this truth community, man. I think they're farther from the truth than even the sleeping people. And that is the way it seems to me, honestly. That's why I had to start making my own content. Go online looking for people speaking truth. I'd be like, these people are more lost than the people who don't even pay attention. Also, this was in the news today. Rosie O'Donnell predicts that Donald Trump will be arrested before 2020. Again, there's been a lot of foreshadowing that Trump's term will end before the election. Could it end with an arrest? It's possible. That could be one of many scenarios, but she used the phrase lock him up instead of lock her up, what he had, you know, everybody chanting at his rallies. And I couldn't help but notice that lock him up in our 2 reduction-based cipher sums to 45. And I thought, how perfect is that? An arrest is 45? Several members of his administration have been arrested, so it's a narrative that's in the cards. Lock him up. Something else. And O'Donnell says he'll be in prison by 2020. Funny that O'Donnell and prison both equal 37. I know that one well because I got arrested in my front yard mowing my lawn on March 7th. The ultimate mockery. The name Rosie O'Donnell, we'll see how much we hear of her. She said she was moving to Israel months ago. She's in New York now, so I guess she's in Little Israel, especially if you're in Brooklyn. But Rosie O'Donnell, 67, the 19th prime number. See how much we hear about Rosie this year. And if her prediction becomes true. Big story that emerged last night, 1996 World Series MVP pitcher John Wetteland arrested for sexually assaulting a young boy. The story is that he was sexually assaulting this child from the time they were 4 until they were 6. And when I saw that, I had an immediate thought. So we'll get to the 4 and 6 thing, but let's just start here with his birthday. His birthday is August 21st. The other year, that was the Great American Solar Eclipse. From his birthday to this announcement was 147 days later. And he was the World Series MVP in 96. The World Series was at the end of 96. So it was 22 years and a couple of months ago. So he was pretty much World Series MVP 22 years ago. And 22 is the master builder number in numerology. And if you write out master builder, it has the same gematria as World Series. So what are the odds of this right away? 147 days after his birthday, shortly after the 22-year anniversary of him being the World Series MVP. And then when I saw this 4 and 6 thing, I said, this reminds me of Catholicism, because, the Catholic Church is routinely getting shamed for sexual assault of young boys. And consider this story broke January 15th, 19. 1 plus 15 plus 19 is 35. So it came on a date with 35 numerology. Catholic in Gematria sums to 35 and 46. 35 and 46. Like how JFK was the only Catholic president, number 35, assassinated at age 46. Child 4 to 6. John Wetteland is 52 years old right now. And that's another number I associate with Catholicism. The word Pope equals 52. All year we've been talking about the very Catholic saints in the NFL, all the rituals with the Pope this year. It's the Saints' 52nd NFL season. We're always talking about sports and the Catholic Church and the Society of Jesus and how much influence the Catholic Church has over the world of rigged and scripted sports. Look at New York Yankees, who John Wetteland pitched for, in light of Society of Jesus. That's the Jesuits. Pope Francis is the first publicly Jesuit pope. Perfect overlap. New York Yankees, Society of Jesus. So I don't think this is any accident. And then the other story I caught wind of yesterday was that a New York Yankee had died at age 84. Eli Gerba, dead at 84. And look at this. He died January 14th, not long after the conclusion of the 114th World Series. The day he died was a date with 54 numerology. Baseball equals 54 and 2 of the 4 base ciphers. 54 outs in a complete game. His name, Eli Gerba, is 54 like baseball. And Jesuit order is also 54. From the conclusion of the 114th World Series until this man's death was 78 days later. Notice, Jesuit, he died at age 84, this man. With the alphabetic order, Jesuits 84. The reverse alphabetic order, Jesuits 78. And they said he died from cancer. Cancer has the gematria of 44 like chemo, like kill. When you add the divisors of 44 together, the numbers that divide into 44, they sum to 84. Again, that Jesuit thing. Adding insult to injury, this man's birthday was August 9th. August 9th. From his birthday to his death was 158 days later. 158 days. And that is reminiscent of the formation date for the Society of Jesus, which was August 15th, 15/8, like 158. And don't forget Ignatius of Loyola, who formed it. He died 84 days from his own birthday. That's covered right at the beginning of my chapter, Murder by Numbers, in the book Letters and Numbers. Even further, this man's birthday, August 9th, is the day leaving 144 days left in the year. Jesuit order, 144. Remember when Donald Trump, who went to the Jesuit University Fordham? By the way, Donald Trump went to Fordham 52 years before becoming president-elect. Pope's 52, but so is president, so is government, so is authority. In Washington, D.C. used to be the Catholic colony. But Donald Trump was at the Vatican on May 24th with the Jesuit Pope on the 144th day of the year. This man here who died, he had his debut with the New York Yankees. And, Looks like he's the latest sacrifice for the World Series that just passed and just before the next season gets underway. So, just yesterday, January 15th, the Church of Latter-day Saints, better known as the Mormons, they opened up their very expensive and very large temple next to the Vatican. And, you know, they call themselves what's the full title? Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints, something like that. But anyhow, January 15th, the day that they open this up, date that can be written 15/1 like 151, which is the 36th prime number. Anyway, Jesus Christ equals 151. So what a day to open this temple. And let us not forget, well, looks like I forgot. Using the alphabetic order, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, they're all 74. When you flip the alphabetic order around and use the rules of numerology, Jesus Christ is 74. And you flip the alphabetic order around, Mormon is 74. So no doubt these numbers are important to the Mormon Church. It's like how these numbers are important to seemingly all the religions of the world. The holy books are encoded. This code is biblical. It jumped out at me that they pointed this feature out about the Vatican. The heights of St. Peter's 450-foot high dome. And just for a good measure, Holy Bible has that gematria of 45 in both reduction ciphers. 45 is the 9th triangular number. There's 9 letters in Holy Bible, 4 letters in Holy, 5 in Bible. But even more, the date that they announced this temple's opening, date with 19 numerology, they are the Latter-day Saints, abbreviated LDS. LDS is 19. It was also a date with 35 numerology, LDS 35. 19 is the 8th prime number. Here we are in 2019 that they do this. And it's right next to the Vatican. Notice LDS 35 and 46, so is Catholic. Remember, the Catholic Church's goal from the beginning was always to control people. That's why they've always tried to bring in other people, pagans, making other religious people convert all over the world. I don't think it's hard to see how the entire world of mainstream religion, how it's all interconnected. I'm sure the Mormon Church and the Vatican have probably always been connected, you know. Mormonism, the religion that was born in America, the nation that was born in large part due to the Catholic Church. From the beginning of this nation, it's been Catholic influence and Jewish influence. And a lot of people disagree with me, but I think who runs the Catholic Church is also the you-know-who's. The ones who in their Talmud, you know, they're told that they have the right to control the Goyim, the non-Jews. And religion and government, that's what they're about. Control. Controlling people, using people. And look at government and religion. I mean, if you start a religion, you're the only person who doesn't have to pay taxes. Well, that and investors. So many people in the supposed truth community, they're all religious. It's like, I don't think you're seeing so clearly. I think your vision's very blurry. Also, January 15, 2019 was a date with a life lesson number of 28. The word temple does have gematria of 28 as well. And they're planning to do a dedication for this new temple from March 10th to the 12th. It's interesting about March 12th is that's the 71st day of the year, the day the dedication will end. Temple, 71. So, the Mormon Church has been all by the numbers from the very beginning. If you've read my book, I have a little note in there about Joseph Smith and the day he saw the supposed angel. That's the beginning of the religion and how it all fits into a perfect pattern. And in the chapter on murder by numbers, I talk about his death and Brigham Young's. Two men who went out by the code 33 years apart. Brigham Young was killed in 44. Or excuse me, not Brigham Young, Joseph Smith, 1844. Then another story today connecting the world of sports and politics. Turkish player Enes Kanter of the New York Knicks. Turkey has put out a warrant. Turkey has put in an extradition request and requested an Interpol red notice for the arrest of NBA star Enes Kanter. There's a story a couple of weeks ago how the Knicks are supposed to play in London and Enes Kanter is not going to go there because he believes Turkey will assassinate him. So this is the latest in this saga. What I thought was interesting about this story coming today is the NBA season began October 16th. Today's the 93rd day of the NBA season. Speaking of which, let me take this call real quick just in case there's somebody phoning in. Caller?
Zach?
Yeah.
Hi, Steven Zach, way over here in PA calling you. How are you?
Doing well.
That's good. Zach, I got a question. I get confused. I mean, I know how to figure out that numerology like you showed me with the dates and all that. And last night I even had the Oklahoma City. I don't know how to get that. I don't know if you mean like the team names. How do you do that?
You just decode the nickname. Hawks equals 17. Oklahoma City got their 17th loss against the Hawks.
How does Hawks equal 17 with the alphabet?
The alphabetic order and the rules of numerology. H is the 8th letter, A is the 1st, W is the 23rd, so you take the numerology of 23, 2 plus 3 is 5, K the 11th, you break it down, 1 plus 1 is 2, S becomes 1, Hawks is 17. Thunder got their 17th loss against the Hawks.
Okay, I didn't know how to do that. So, and then in the A games tonight, you were saying Milwaukee and Memphis is going to be close, but the breakdown like the name now.
Yeah, so always look at your date numerology and your name gematria. And if you get a game, like for example, if you had a team going for the 19th win on a 19 date numerology versus an opponent with 19 name gematria, that's what I call as close as you can possibly get to a lock. So those are the kind of combinations you want to look for.
Like Orlando could get their 20th win tonight. They're 19 and 24 against the Detroit Pistons, 18 and 24. So you think that's a good pick or not?
Well, I'd have to look at it more carefully. I'm doing the live stream right now. I don't know. Are you in the live stream right now?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just listening to your NBA, and I guess I'm going to flip over to listen to you now. I don't need to interrupt you. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, it's every day from about 1 to 2.
Okay, thanks. I'll flip over. Thanks. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, take care.
Bye. You too. Bye.
All right, so I guess he wasn't listening. He just wanted some sports stuff. I get those kind of calls all day. Zach, who should I bet on? It's like, man, I need you guys to take the streets with me. Anyway, what I was going to say is, in light of this being the 93rd day of the NBA season and this story coming, his surname Kanter's 93, New York, NY's 93 where he plays. But what else is interesting about it being the 16th and the season beginning on the 16th is 16 has that Gematria 93 too. We just saw, isn't it kind of funny that I got to the NBA post and then he called in? That's also, now that's just dawning on my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of weird. But we just saw this in the world of sports last Monday when Clemson won. Their quarterback wears the number 16, and the game was 93 days after his birthday. So this just looks like, more contrived news, bring attention to I don't even know what they want to bring attention to with Turkey. Turkey's like our biggest ally in the region, and for some reason they're always trying to make it seem like we have some strife with Turkey. I don't really get what that's about. Is it confusion? Is it mass confusion? Anyway, Enos Cantor, his name is also 158, like extradition, what Turkey's after. And I don't think I'd ever ran the Gematria on extradition before today, but I noticed, it's an interesting word. It's got a lot of overlap with Freemasonry too. And then in the one cipher where it doesn't match up, overlaps with basketball. So I think those were the only stories I saw that were worth any merit today. Again, the news cycle still really slow. Normally there's just so much to talk about, but I think we're in the calm before the storm right now. Things have definitely got to pick up. So if anybody wants to phone in, the number is 509-731-0567. Again, 509-731-0567. Be nice if this government shutdown made it so we didn't have to pay our taxes this year. I don't think that'll be the case, though. I think they got computers doing everything now. Notice they got 90 ways up there. 90, one of those two numbers, 90 and 16. The two, when you write out, they have Gematria 33. Got a call from New York, New York. Let's see what's going on here.
Hey, what's going on? I just want to make a quick point to you. Did you hear about the super wolf blood moon that's supposed to happen Sunday, the 21st? And I think it happened. I think it happened at the same time the Patriots and the Chiefs are playing too. Did you hear about that?
I did. I covered it at the very beginning of the year. I'll have to go back and look at it. But yeah, that is supposed to be a big phenomenon in the sky. I think the date is January 20th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's Sunday.
Right.
So I'm thinking, besides the Patriots and Kansas City, I think something else might happen on that date too.
Well, I remember last year during the playoffs, they had the big Hawaii missile scare synced up with the Patriots and Titans game. So maybe you're right about that.
So this is what's they call it, a blood red moon. So I mean, they think Kansas City might upset the Patriots. You've been on the Patriots for all since the season started. I'm just curious because they said because during the Patriots game, I think they could be the same time during that game. It's happening.
Well, I don't know why that moon would indicate that they're going to get upset, but I'll take a look at it.
Okay, all right, Zach.
All right, man.
Okay.
All right, have a good one, dude. And he reminds me that it is Wednesday. We do have the radio show tonight, TFR Live, every Wednesday night. Again, if you don't know that website, tfrlive.com. Every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern. You just come here and you can click Listen Live, and the show should stream. So we got ads popping up, huh? But yeah, I think that covers it for today, unless we got any more callers. Sorry about the technical glitch at the beginning. I still don't know what was up with that. I ended up plugging in my mic, but I don't normally use my mic for this podcast, and it's normally just fine. So let me come out to the chat real quick. Chat's up. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, here we got another caller. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Zach. How's it going, man?
It's going well. What's going on?
Hey, I wanted to. I had an observation for the Patriots. You know how when you say how we always say the Colts rituals are usually for the Patriots, right?
Right.
And this year was their 66th season, and Brady has a chance to get his 6th.
Right, and Bill Belichick's 66 years old.
Right, and another thing with wrestling is when John Cena beat AJ Styles to win the championship, he won his 16th title, and he tied Ric Flair and they call Ric Flair the greatest of all time. So maybe they go and tie Pittsburgh.
Very interesting. Good observation. We know how they like to sync up.
He beat the guy from Atlanta in the Super Bowl.
Right.
In Atlanta.
Right.
You know, so,
yeah, that's a good point.
So let's see what happens.
All right. Appreciate it, Michael. Good eyes.
All right, Zach.
All right, take it. Yeah, and in light of this NFL season being themed with the War 18-12, which we talked about before the season even began, and then the first game opened up with a score of 18-12, Drew Brees has faced one quarterback in the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning, who wore the number 18. If he faced Tom Brady, what number does Tom Brady wear? So we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Be back tonight. Fermenti says I should do some numbers on the grand solar minimum. Okay, I'll have to look into that. Hi, Holly. Let's see. Canner's 26 years old. Saturn is 26 in the Septenary cipher. So I might go in with the Saturn ritual there. Saturn's big number is 93. Oh, you guys are making some good observations in the chat. Keep up the good work. Very interesting. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll be back on this evening for TFR. And thanks for bearing through the technical glitch. Until next time.